Hello, everyone. Pastor Dave from Remnant Church in San Luis Obispo. Today, I want to talk to you about, could President Trump be our last president? Now, the U.S. has been a nation, one nation under God for over 200 years, but in the last 50, 70, 80 years or so, we've gone way from really centering our nation on God's virtues and listening to God in what we do. This same thing happened in Israel in the final days of the final kings of Israel, just before Babylonian captivity and being taken away from Israel. Now, if we look at the final kings of Israel, Jehoahaz, Jehoiakim, Jehoiachin, and Zedekiah from 609 to 586 BC, these rulers ignored warning after warning from Jeremiah, Ezekiel, and they just basically laughed in their face about, I don't care what God says. You're a false prophet. I don't like what you say. Give me some good news. And they didn't. So basically, Jeremiah 36, symbolizing his rejection, was the last king. Zedekiah vacillated between alliances between Egypt and Babylon while doing evil in the eyes of the Lord. Jeremiah prophesied that by breaking the covenant, oppressing the vulnerable, and trusting in false security, Judah's fate was sealed. And that was in Jeremiah 2:13 and 7, 5 through 7. These things happen because over and over, God had warned through his prophets, don't do this, or you're going to pay for sinning over and over, worshiping false gods, as we do in the U.S., and basically ignoring God's warnings continuously. Now, has our nation done that? We have done that in a sense. And we will have to be paying for that someday. And it's going to start probably being paid because of our leaders not listening. Now, right now, we've been given a reprieve. President Trump is more godly in the sense of recognizing freedom of religion and so forth. But we've had a series of presidents from the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, and into now that have not listened to God. And truly, even people that are not purely worshiping God can be used by God, like President Trump. But we may be in the days of the last presidents right now. Who's going to be elected after President Trump? I don't know. But God's been warning us for many years, turn back. When you take prayer out of the schools, when you take Ten Commandments out of the schools, when you start teaching about other religions are part of the same thing as Christianity, which they're not, and you oppose the Christianity in the schools, that's turning away from God. So we've done one thing after another. And even this woke movement we've had for the last 10 years plus, and transgender thing that would basically be saying every child can be what they want to be, that's not in the Bible. So what I'm saying is this: we need to turn back to God. We need to refocus on God. And hopefully President Trump will do more of that through his presidency. And Christians, it's time to rise up and take advantage of this small window we have right now to turn back to God, to have a revival in this country, get down on our knees and pray because time is short. Jesus is returning very soon. Everything in the Middle East looks like that. So what I'm saying is we're in the last days of our presidents, maybe. Who's coming after President Trump? Don't know. We are not mentioned in the Bible as far as Revelation end times. So are we living in the last time of the last president? Maybe so. But either way, we should be praying for our country to repent and turn away from these false gods and back to Jesus, the true and one true God only. And we should do it soon before it's too late. Israel didn't listen. They went into captivity. I'm not saying we're going to go into captivity, but as we worship false gods and turn from the real God, we lose that protection from the one and only God. Well, if you're saved, be looking up. If you're not, give your life to Jesus tonight. because Jesus is coming soon, and I hope he's coming for you. Until next time, be blessed.